one of the things that no one should ever be able to call anyone in the Tea Party movement is complacent or scared or lacking of courage. And that's something I want to talk to you guys about today, because we're in what Zach Paulette of ACORN Political Operations would call a once-in-a-generation opportunity. What he meant was a once-in-a-generation opportunity to fundamentally change America. They have doubled down for this election. They never expected the Tea Party movement, but it has not stopped them. They are moving full speed ahead for a progressive majority that they expect to last for the next 45 years. So, what are we going to do about that? Are we going to be cowed by the cause of racism? Are we going to sit at home like we did in 2008? Or are we going to get out there and fight? And that's what we need to do. We need to get out there and fight, because what we're up against is something that has never been seen before. You have a Department of Justice that has totally ignored the rule of law and has basically gone wild. They're suing states that have the nerve to become compliant with federal law. They're going across the country and stopping photo voter ID. And let me tell you, I live in PG County, Maryland, which is, a predominantly black area, and every person I know has a photo ID. You need one to cash a check, to go to the liquor store, I tried to return a dress to Dress Barn the other day, and they wanted a photo ID. What if I had screamed racism? They probably would have thrown me out the door. If anyone has seen the James O'Keefe videos where he's accepted, offered Eric Holder's ballot. These are the reasons why we need these things, because they are trying to steal this election. It is something that has been done for the past 2 cycles, where they have geared up to put a number of voters on the rolls. Between 2004 and 2008, just those years, the left registered 7 million unmatched voters. And when I say unmatched, those were all Democrats. When you look at the margin of victory for Obama, it was around 5 million voters. They have created their margin of victory. Project Vote, Obama's old employer, is running a massive voter registration drive, even after having to admit to registering 1.3 million voters in 2008, but only 450,000 of those voters were actually eligible to be put on the ballot. They're doing the same thing. Their leader, Amy Busfink, was convicted in Nevada. She pleaded guilty to voter registration fraud and is now running one of the largest voter registration drives in the country. At the same time, Project Vote, which is ACORN, basically ACORN Light, is working with the Brennan Center for Justice and the Department of Justice to sue states across the country. Freedom of Information Act requests have shown that not only is the DOJ colluding with ACORN and Project Vote, but that ACORN employees are suggesting people that the DOJ should hire for their Human Rights Division. This is what we're up against, folks. We're up against an administration that is manufacturing vote fraud by the dozens, that is out there ignoring the rule of law and pushing for states to keep these inflated voter rolls. In New Mexico, the first Republican Secretary of State in 82 years took office in 2010. And before she could even pick out her office furniture, 2 people from the DOJ flew into New Mexico to tell her she could not maintain her voting rolls. There are more people on the voting rolls in New Mexico than there are voting age population. They are setting up for massive fraud this year. And what can we do to stop it? One of the things is to get out there and get informed. Go on your Secretary of State's website, understand the laws, understand the National Voter Registration Act of 1993 and how the left is using it to registering people en masse in public assistance agencies across the country. So when people go into the food stamp office or the TANF office or whatever you call it, welfare, not only are these people, some of them not eligible to vote, but they are being offered voter registration cards 3 and 4 times in one visit. Imagine a person that really doesn't understand English being offered this card and feeling that if they don't fill it out, they might not get their food stamps that day to feed their kid. So every time they're offered their card, they fill it out because they're afraid, because they don't understand, and the people don't explain it to them. That's the type of vote fraud that we have going on right now. It's being manufactured. What if we mandated that every time someone buys a gun, we have to offer them a voter registration card? They would lose their minds. They have mandated in a federal law a way to target their base and to do it in a way that includes ineligible and illegal voters. When Florida tried to maintain their voting rolls and they found hundreds of thousands of illegal, or as Obama likes to call them, undocumented workers on the rolls, they were promptly contacted and threatened to be sued by the Department of Justice. You need to understand the Help America Vote Act of 2002 and how provisional voting helps steal elections, including in the Franken versus Coleman race in Minnesota. And above all, we need people at the polls, inside the polls, working. If you haven't checked it out, please go to www.truethevote.org and find out how you can become a poll watcher. Let me tell you what this means. I was in Harris County, Texas in 2010. This is Sheila Jackson Lee's district now, okay, guys? Now, this is not this is a rough and tumble place. This is not Oregon. I'm in Sheila Jackson Lee's district, and I'm watching as the poll workers are being put into places where they haven't seen conservatives in 30-plus years. And what I saw was Sheila Jackson Lee and her people, Quanell X from the new Black Panthers, they're on TV, and they're screaming 60s-style voter intimidation and, comparing it to Bull Connor and the hoses and everything. And what I saw in the polls was people laughing and talking and going out to lunch together and networking, because when you let Americans be Americans and you take all of that outside agitation away, you have nothing but common ground. After that 2-week early voting period, they were hugging those poll workers and inviting them to come back next year, tell them to come back for the next election. And that's what I saw in that district. I didn't see voter intimidation. I saw a place where conservatives hadn't been in 30 years and people didn't know what to expect, so they were afraid at first. But after 2 weeks, it was like they were old friends. So if that can happen in 3rd Ward of Texas, Sheila Jackson Lee's district, that can happen around the country. And that's the major threat. You guys are your best asset, and you don't even realize it. Let me repeat that. You are your best asset, and you don't even realize it. If you get out there and you show the genuine people that you are, that you're not racist, that you're not evil, that you're not out there to destroy anyone's rights, you will win. And that is what scares the left. The fact that if we unite as Americans, we will take back this country. So they will do any and everything to divide us, to dehumanize you, and to make you less than what you are. And like I said, it's not what they call you, it's what you answer to. It is up to us to stop preaching to the choir, to get out and to take America back block by block, to go into these areas. We didn't lose it that way, but that's the only way we're going to get it back, guys. We have to go out there and show them who we are, to show them that we're not racist and that we're ready for a united America. Imagine what that'll look like. That progressive majority that they're factoring on will crumble. If we get even 5 to 10% of the black vote, we will win, because not only are we changing, if we change the culture, we will change politics. They will no longer vote for the Sheila Jackson Lees. They will no longer listen to the Al Sharptons and the Jesse Jacksons, because we will have come out there and educated the voters. You're not going to get that Democrat who's voted Democrat straight for 40 years to change in one election cycle. But if we are consistent and visible and we're out there and we build infrastructures in these communities, there is no way we can lose, because I have seen it happen, guys, and we can do it again. It is up to us not to be complacent, not to be lazy, and above all, we need to have the cojones to do this. I am so tired of people being afraid. The only reason people joined ACORN is because they were the first people to knock on those doors and to ask people what they thought. They were the only ones that did it. They joined them. They paid them $10 a month out of bank draft, electronic debit. And most of those people didn't have money. Some of them didn't have bank accounts. But they were figuring out a way to pay ACORN every single month, because they were the only people that came out and asked them what they thought and how they felt about this country and gave them a voice. If we do that, we will be so powerful. It will amaze you how things will start to change. But it has to start by us going into into the places that we have neglected because we thought that they were in there doing these things for us. And that was the big joke of ACORN. While they were out there telling you guys it was too dangerous to go into these places, they were sending in 20-year-old white kids with trust funds to organize in the blackest neighborhoods in the country. And they were telling you, oh, don't go there, don't go there. And they were putting black people on TV so you would think it was a black organization organizing blacks. That's not how it is. And as you see right now with Obama out there trying to create these new numbers, have you guys picked this up? He doesn't have the numbers to win. He didn't have them in 2008, but what he had was white guilt. People stayed home. Either they voted for Obama because they wanted to prove they weren't racist, or they stayed home because they couldn't vote for McCain. I don't care if you don't like Mitt Romney. You better love America, and that means to get out there and vote. We have only got one shot at this, guys. Like I said, they have doubled down. Now, we're either going to lose this country fighting, or I'm not even going to speculate what's going to happen. But I know that when I wake up the next day after the election, I want to have known that I did every single thing I could to win. And that's exactly what we need to do, guys. So when you're out there thinking about what you can do, think about two things. Get out the vote. Drag every person living and eligible to the polls. And become a poll watcher. Get involved. We need you outside the polls, but we desperately need you inside of them. Thank you so much. It is an honor to be here.